Okay, give me a minute. Not sure. There wasn't a Zoom link sent, so we're not in Zoom right now. But let me just double check that we are live. There wasn't a Zoom link. Okay. Give me just one moment. I want to double check that there is a class today. Just a minute. I need to confirm that there is a class today. There was no Zoom link sent, so I'm just a little confused about that. Alright, so there is a class, so I'll go ahead and get started. So, yeah, I think a Zoom link will be sent soon. So when that link is sent out, I will, oh, wait, okay. Okay. Alright, so sorry for the confusion. I wasn't sure if there's class now or not, but I started streaming anyway, so I'll just finish. So today we are doing English Unit 8, which is idioms. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to go over, as usual, is the tenets of Diksuchi. So Diksuchi is an organization here to educate your young minds and support your academic growth. So make the most out of it. Not everyone gets this kind of opportunity. So we are excited to help you through this process. So take Diksuchi as your learning buddy, here to help you. And we're just here for your own good. So please make use of us. And you're never alone. We learn together. And we can't wait to explore new ideas with you and learn new concepts. And every question you ask makes you stronger. So please do not feel afraid to maybe in Zoom sessions ask me questions or ask your teachers any questions that you have relating to our presentation. So here are today's learning goals. First and foremost, you must understand what idioms are. Then you will identify what idioms, where idioms are in sentences. And you'll deduce the meanings of idioms and use idioms in conversation. So here are some tips for success. Obviously, pay attention. Ask questions whenever you're confused. Take notes of anything you feel important if possible. If that's not possible, then obviously take mental notes. Visualize what's going on. Visualize concepts to help yourself understand them better. And practice makes perfect, so please make sure you practice, whether it's math or English or whatever subject you do. The more you practice it, the better you'll get at it. For English, the best way of practicing is to keep reading, whether that be articles or books. Just keep reading. And remember to practice the concepts you're learning in school and at Diksuchi. And then number 6 is the growth mindset. So just make sure you have a growth mindset. You never, get frustrated or give up just because you're not understanding a concept that's very important. So, yeah. So now it's time to learn. Here is the warm-up question. Have you ever heard something that sounded silly but meant something else? So this is basically just the preface of what idioms are. So idioms, just so that you get a quick idea, we'll go in depth later. But just so you get a good idea of it early on, idioms are usually like short phrases that sound silly and sound less like conventional and don't sound like very possible, but they actually mean something else. So like this is the introduction example. Have you ever heard someone say that something was a piece of cake? So that sentence right here, a piece of cake, is an idiom, essentially. So what do you think this phrase means here? A piece of cake. I just want you to think about it and then I'll go over it. Okay, a piece of cake, literally speaking, means, as this image suggests, if you have a cake, just a piece of it, just a part of the cake. But that's when you have to ask, are they really being literal? Because let's say someone just took a test and they say, this test was a piece of cake. They're not being literal because a test obviously cannot be cake. A test is paper usually or online. So a test obviously cannot be cake. So what do they actually mean by the test was a piece of cake? Well, it's an idiom. An idiom is something that's figurative, non-literal. So basically something symbolic or some phrase that's metaphorical, that's intended to express a different idea than what it literally means. So a piece of cake doesn't literally mean a piece of cake. A piece of cake means that something is easy. So usually you'll pick up idioms as you learn more English. It's not really any like formula or something like, oh, you just deduce it like this. Usually like just you find these online or while you're reading, you just sort of pick them up. So it's just better to get your hands on as many idioms as you can because you deal a lot with these in the real world. This is the second example of an idiom, introduction example. So what about hit the road? Hit the road is a common idiom in the United States. Not sure how much they use it in India, but I want you to take a moment and think, what do you think this actually means? So literally, what does it mean? And then ask yourself, are they being literal? Well, hit the road could mean like this guy's doing, like physically, you just get on the road and you hit it. Maybe you stomp on it with your foot or slap the road. But that's not what is actually meant by the phrase hit the road, because hit the road is an idiom. So idioms are generally created by people. You may be using idioms every day without realizing it. So hit the road doesn't actually mean we want to hit the road. Hit the road is metaphorical. It's not literal. It's metaphorical or symbolic for getting on the road to drive. So like literally if you say like, oh, we're running late, we better hit the road. That means that you must get on the road driving. Basically hit the road basically means start driving. So that's what it means, and it's metaphorical. Hit the road isn't literal. So this is just a quick preface of idioms. Now we'll go over the actual definition, and by now you should have a solid understanding after this slide. So idioms. Idioms are phrases that do not mean exactly what the words say. Like I said, idioms are non-literal. They are often metaphorical or symbolic and should not be taken literally because they are metaphorical. So they often sound short, catchy, and silly, so that's how you can identify them. Usually you'll know when you come across an idiom because either you've dealt with it before, or it sounds very short, catchy, and silly. So this is just a quick video we'll go over from the YouTube creator Cram Jams. So I just got this on YouTube, and it's open under the YouTube Standard license, so we do have the right to use it in this presentation. So just the quick video to help you understand.
My parents for an iPad and they said no way, it's too expensive, so I asked how much I'd have to pay. They said an arm and a leg and I was pretty bummed. That is until I learned that that was just an idiom. An idiom is a phrase that doesn't make much sense unless you heard it before and you knew what it meant. The words themselves could be used in a different way than what the person means when they use the phrase. Saying you missed the boat, that's an idiom. Kill two birds with one stone, that's an idiom. Saying give it a shot, that's an idiom. Bull in a china shop, that's an idiom. When someone has cold feet, what does that really mean? That they lost their shoes and their feet will freeze? These are cold feet of a different kind. It means that they got nervous and they changed their mind. If we're in the same boat, we don't have to be at sea. It just means you're in the same situation as me. It's raining cats and dogs is something one might say, but all it really means is that there's lots of rain. That's a piece of cake, that's an idiom. I'm drawing a blade, that's an idiom. Cat's out of the bag, that's an idiom. We're gonna have a blast, that's an idiom.
So, why would someone use an idiom?
Well, idioms make what you say or write sound more interesting.
Do you mean instead of saying, I'm excited, I could say, I'm over the moon? And that sounds more interesting, right?
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Let's play it by ear, that's an idiom. Crocodile tear, that's an idiom. It came out of the blue, that's an idiom. Have your cake and eat it too, that's an idiom. Barking up the wrong tree, that's an idiom. By the skin of your teeth, that's an idiom. We gotta break the ice, that's an idiom. Got bigger fish to fry, that's an idiom.
Okay, so we did get the Zoom link, so I'm going to join that right now. Just bear with me here for a minute. I am supposed to join this Zoom meeting for the session, so I will join that now. Okay, hi. So please follow along using the YouTube video because I went like over I think half of uh the unit already in the YouTube video, so you could catch along that way. So please watch the YouTube video if you haven't already. And I'm in the middle of doing it right now, so it is live. But if possible, go to the beginning and see where I start, because then you will be able to see the beginning of the unit from the beginning of the unit, which is more helpful than starting in the middle. Thanks. Okay. So now that we have finished this video, let's go ahead and move on to the idiom example number 1, which is breaking the ice. Okay, so if someone says break the ice, literally speaking, it means break frozen ice. But the true meaning of it, the true meaning that was intended by it, is to start talking in a friendly way. So if you go to like a new school or somewhere, or it's the first day of school and there's a bunch of kids you don't know, the teacher might say, all right, kids, let's break the ice. So she doesn't actually mean that there's ice and you have to break it. It's metaphorical, it's an idiom, and the meaning behind it is start talking to each other. So that's what break the ice means. And another common idiom is it's raining cats and dogs. Literally speaking, it means animals are falling from the sky, but that's really not possible for it to rain cats and dogs. It's a metaphorical phrase, and the real meaning behind it is that it's raining very heavily. So if there's very heavy rain outside, maybe I'll say it's raining cats and dogs. So that's an example of the use of an idiom. So these are just some common idioms we see in our daily lives. The first idiom is it's raining cats and dogs, like we went over. So the literal meaning of it is that animals are falling, but the real meaning behind it, the true meaning behind it, is heavy rain. And for those of you, I know not everyone might understand all these words. Literal means what's actually being said, and real means like the true message behind it. Just prefacing that. And then the second idiom is break the ice. The literal meaning of it is to smash ice, but the true meaning behind it is to start a conversation. The third idiom is hit the hay. The literal meaning of it is to actually hit hay, but the true meaning, intended meaning behind it is to go to sleep. So when you're sleepy, you might say, I'm going to hit the hay. That doesn't mean you're actually going to go hit hay. It just means that you're going to go to bed. And then the fourth idiom is spill the beans, which means, well, literally speaking, it means drop beans, but that's not what's actually meant. The real meaning behind it is to tell a secret. The fifth, last but not least, we have under the weather. That literally speaking, it means under the sky, but the true intended meaning behind it is that you're feeling sick. So let's say I get sick, I might say to my teacher, I'm under the weather today, so I can't come to school. So that's just an example of the using an idiom. We have one more quick video just to reinforce idioms for you guys. Not sure if you'll actually need it, but we'll go over it anyway. Just a little bit of it, and then we'll get back to the video. Get back to the slides.
Idioms for kids. Have you ever heard a phrase that seems kind of strange? Something like, it's raining cats and dogs tonight. Or, I'm feeling blue. How about hitting the books? Or, fish and visitors stink after 3 days. Does it actually rain cats and dogs? Can you feel the color blue? Are there a bunch of people with hammers hanging around waiting to hit a bunch of books? If you said, no way, you're right. And what do fish and visitors have to do with each other? Today, we're going to talk about something called idioms, which are a part of something even bigger called figurative language. Feeling a little confused? Don't worry, we're here to help. Today, we're going to learn all about idioms and how to use them. Let's get started. Before we dive into idioms, we need to talk about what figurative language is. Figurative language describes something in very colorful terms. It uses comparisons between very different things, like fish and visitors, to paint a picture for the hearer. So, put on your thinking caps and let's explore some of these sayings. Let's look first at the phrase, fish and visitors stink after 3 days. What does that mean? Fish can be very yummy, but what would happen if you left it out on the counter for 3 days? It would begin to stink, wouldn't it? What about visitors? Visitors are wonderful to have over. But after a few days, it might get annoying to have to keep cooking for them, cleaning up after them, and entertaining them. In the saying, fish and visitors stink after 3 days, fish and visitors are compared to each other to show that even though fish and visitors can both be good things, after a while, they might stink, or you might not want them around anymore. Have you ever heard the phrase, good things come to those who wait? What about the saying, better late than never? Or how about break a leg? You may have read, heard, or said one of these phrases before. But what you might not know is that these sayings have a name.
Okay, so I think you guys get that for now. By now. Obviously, this was a reinforcement video, so it was just to help you understand everything. So now you learned everything. Now this is where we get into practice, and then we're done. So this is the first guided practice. So this is a text, and I will read it. And I want you guys to identify where the idioms are, and then tell me what the idioms mean. So I'll go over it once, and then if you want in a group or individually, up to you how you want to do this. Figure out, there are 3 idioms in here. I want you to identify each idiom, and then also identify what each idiom actually means. Not the literal meaning, but the intended metaphorical meaning behind it. Okay, so let's start reading. Liam was nervous on the first day of school, but his teacher broke the ice with a funny story. Later, he spilled the beans about his fear of speaking in class. Soon, he was no longer feeling under the weather. So I want you guys to identify the 3 idioms in these sentences, and then identify what each idiom means. I'll give you a minute. Okay, time's up. So these are the 3 idioms in the text. The first idiom is broke the ice. The second idiom is spill the beans. And the third idiom is under the weather. Well, how do I know those are idioms? Well, they're short, they're silly, and they seem like a little bit extreme, right? Like, broke the ice. Like, it doesn't seem like you actually do that in school, breaking ice. And spilling the beans, it doesn't seem like that's a real thing, like people intentionally do. And then under the weather, how can we really be under the weather? Anyways, everyone is under the clouds. So this doesn't really make sense. So these are more like silly little phrases. So broke the ice means he started talking. Spilled the beans means they told a secret, and under the weather means they felt sick. Again, if you don't understand these idioms, you can go ahead and go on the internet and search up common English idioms, and then you'll find a whole list of idioms and you can just study off of those. But these are just the foundational idioms that people use in day-to-day conversations. So this is partner practice. So pair up with a partner. If you would like, you can do it independently. It's up to you. But doing it with a partner will help you explain it to each other and find where each other needs help. Here what you will do is you're going to match up each of the idioms on the left to their true intended meaning behind them, the metaphorical meaning behind them, and you'll match it up to the right. So, for example, 1 could match up to any of A, B, C, or D. 2 could match up to either A, B, C, or D. 3 could match up to A, B, C, or D, and 4 could match up to A, B, C, or D. So I'll give you about less than a minute to do this, and then we'll go over the answers. Okay, time's up. So if you didn't have enough time, that's fine. I'll go over the answers. So these are the answers. So number 1, a piece of cake means it's easy to do. Number 2, hit the books means to study hard. 3, let the cat out of the bag seems pretty obvious. It is reveal a secret. And number 4, on the ball means paying attention / doing a good job. So you guys can, really deduce the meanings from these, but oftentimes these are more, you just pick these up. Like these are kind of things less deduction and more of just memorization. Memorization. So what you want to do is basically just study these. I didn't have to study them because in the U.S. we hear these a lot, so you just pick it up like they're real phrases. So in India, I'm not sure how English idioms are used. I'm not sure which idioms are used because there are so many different English idioms, and the popular ones really vary country to country. So these are the ones that are popular in the U.S. that we use. So you could learn these, and also if there's any other popular idioms in India, you could use those to study as well. And that's it. We're done for this session. You learned what idioms are and how to identify them and how to use them in day-to-day conversations. So this is the wrap-up. An idiom is a phrase with a specialized meaning. Idioms do not mean exactly what the words say, and we use context clues to understand idioms. So yeah, that's it for today's session. So thank you for attending this session. And yeah.